How about it? Here on a Friday, welcome in for an hour of college football talk. This is Stadium Pulse, presented by Nimnicht, Buick GMC, and Southside Baseball Association. Welcome in to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network and the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. I'm Jason Hamby, and we got about, 8 days? 8 days, and then we got a little Dublin version of the college football season opener between Iowa State and Kansas State. We got a lot to get to today as far as previewing, what are some of our teams that we look like? We repeat it each and every week for you. UCF, Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia, of course. What's the expectation going to be this season? I got to be honest, I'm a little scared to start the episode. About 3 minutes ago, I walked back to the producer booth. As you guys know, we introduced you to the most legendary kicker in JU history last year, Mr. Zach Benwick. He is our producer now. And I just walked back into his room, and I saw that he had just looked up Nick Marshall 2011 stats, I believe. And I have no idea why, and I'm just really confused. So stay tuned for that. Maybe Nick Marshall gets a pull and a mention here in a couple of minutes. We will see. Zach, I got to let you know, whatever you got planned, feel free for the chat to disagree. You cool with that?
I'm beyond ready. I'm not here to come to Nick Marshall's defense. But for Florida State fans, there's some hope. There's some hope for us this year.
Interesting. Okay, that's FSU Zach right there. Look, we got a loaded one for you today. Venmo allegations. Oh, this is going to be real fun. AP poll comes out a couple of days ago. We got the latest on Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Alex Grinch, the UCF defensive coordinator, catching strays from Barstool and why that matters. Florida's injury problems. Add another key player to the list. And here's the big one for you today. Coaches under the most pressure entering the 2025 season. Again, next Saturday, season opener, Iowa State, Kansas State, in Dublin. But before we get to that, let's start with the new quarterback that I will be watching this year. You got your teams. Obviously, you're going to watch your favorite team. But are you going to watch, other than that, you pretty much watch for players. You watch your team, sometimes you hate watch, right? I'm guilty of that, right? That's why I watch Florida. Why I watch Florida State. I want to see them lose, right? And then outside of that, you've got the players that you follow. One of those for me, because I'm a new fan of his, is Mr. John Mateer. Now, if you do not know who John Mateer is, he is the new quarterback at Oklahoma. He is being tasked with saving the Sooners program and saving Brent Venables' job, okay? He comes from Washington State. He's a pure thrower of the football. He threw for, I think, almost 4,000 yards last year. He's supposed to be the real deal. Obviously, the last couple years, Venables, he's been there. He's entering year 4. That's really the timeline that you get at SEC programs that expect to win national titles. I don't know if Oklahoma is quite in that list, but they definitely expect to go to the playoff now, year in and year out. Venables gets there. Obviously, he's a defensive guy under Dabo Swinney at Clemson for years and years, and Oklahoma's defense doesn't even look real good. Right, they have a 10-2 season mixed in with a couple 6-win seasons, I believe. And the defense was just as much as an issue as the offense. Now, the defense kind of gets rolling at points last year. The offense was absolutely putrid. Jackson, Arnold, everybody aside, they'd run it for about 100. They'd have about 150 all-purpose yards in a football game. It looked like a JV contest out there at times for the Sooners offense. So they bring in John Mateer, gunslinger, if you will. And then I think Tuesday night I was on my Twitter timeline and I see Venmo posts from 2022, popping up. I'm like, oh boy, here it is. This was among other things, but this is the most dangerous, I guess, of the things that was circulating. First of all, whoever's going back to 2022 November, I mean, I guess Texas boosters, Longhorn boosters, maybe shelved out some money to a couple sorority girls to go dig these up. But nonetheless, it's there. Sports gambling, he captions it. UCLA versus USC, and another one that day, just sports gambling. Look, I think this is a cast the first stone kind of thing. If you're going to sit here and tell me that you've always captioned your Venmo requests and your sins exactly what they are, hat tip. Okay? Hat tip to you. The fact of the matter is, the dude's a freshman in college at this point, sitting the bench at Washington State. And we're going back to that point to pull these out. And now we're trying to get Mr. John Mateer in trouble with the NCAA for gambling. Okay? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. Look, if you went through my entire Venmo history, I got a lot of dumb friends. Okay? I got a lot of idiots that I hang out with sometimes. And there were times where we played a lot of in-house poker games. Now, as someone who believes that they were one of the better players and who was getting some Venmos my way quite frequently, I can't guarantee you that every single one of them said $10 poker on the caption. I'll let you, I don't know what they said. I didn't even look, but you'd probably get a laugh out of it if you did. Here's the point I want to make. I want to pull up the apology that John Mateer put out. See, this is what I love. I'm a fan now of Mr. Mateer because you know how little credence you give stuff? If you see your name in headlines, you're being talked about, people are coming for you, and you decide, yeah, I'm just going to pull up the old Notes app. Let me spend 2 or 3 minutes here on the Notes app, and we're going to throw this out there. That's how you defend yourself. Absolutely. I mean, this is about as little thought as we can give it, as low maintenance, as informal, as unprofessional as it gets. And that's how you know when this guy says they were inside jokes between him and his friends. It's the truth. It's the truth. This guy, I mean, anytime you see the old Notes app, I mean, Micah Parsons pulls out a full page out of his Notes app to request a trade from the Cowboys. That's how you know he's serious. He's not going through the agent. He's not going through the Word document, Microsoft Word. He's going to the Notes app. Mateer does the same thing. I can assure my teammates, coaches, and officials at the NCAA that I've never engaged in any sports gambling. Okay, I was with you until you got to that line. But I'm still going to go with you because I like it. If you would have just stuck to they were inside jokes, has nothing to do with UCLA and whatever game that was, you were golden. Is this apology good enough? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is clear in every single investigation every time. So just wanted to start the show for you with that for you so you know why, hey, in about 6, 7, 8 weeks, when it's Sooner, when I'm pumping Sooners football on this channel and on this show, you'll know why. All right. With that being said, let's get to Florida. We've started the show with them the last couple of weeks, and we decided to move them to second on the rundown today to start with the Venmo allegations. But nonetheless, we checked the pulse in Gainesville with another injury. Okay, Florida has an injury problem. This is a big problem in Gainesville, and it's because, I mean, it started with DJ Lagway, right? And we've talked DJ Lagway each of the last couple weeks. DJ Lagway all spring, he's got the shoulder. DJ Lagway all summers in a boot with a lower leg injury, right? The guy's barely practiced. We've well chronicled that. He's just now practicing really for the first time all year as far as team drills. Then we get to Dallas Wilson, the star wide receiver, the 5-star that's coming in that's expected to, kind of carry the load in the receiver room along with Sturdivant, the transfer from UCLA, and obviously Eugene Wilson coming back for another year. He's been hurt as well. He's coming back from a major injury. These are supposed to be minor. But if we're suffering minor and nagging injuries and soft tissue injuries in camp, then that starts to raise the question. Because those are two of your top players right there. Obviously, DJ Lagway is your best player. And then Wednesday of this week, 2 days ago, we get the notification that Caleb Banks is in a boot. I mean, what is the deal with the boot in Gainesville? I mean, either the Florida football staff is the most precautious staff in all the country, either they just got a lot of boots that they need to be used and shove out, or they've got a serious issue. I'm not going to be the guy that questions, the strength and conditioning, they got to be invested, there needs to be answers. I mean, I'm not going to be that guy. I've seen it already. The strength and conditioning coach needs to be fired. This is way too many soft tissue injuries in camp. I don't think I'm ready to go there. But understand something. If 3 of your probably top 5 players or most impactful players all go down during camp with soft tissue stuff, or what we believe to be soft tissue stuff, they just say kind of lower leg injury, minor lower leg injury, that's a problem. That's a big problem, especially Caleb Banks, your star defensive tackle, the anchor of your defense, the guy that probably would have gotten drafted pretty high last year, decided to come back along with a lot of guys on both lines. That is the strength of the Florida team this year, outside of DJ Lagway and the receivers, who are very young. They have well-experienced guys on both the offensive and defensive line that's led by Caleb Banks. He is supposed to be the first-round guy. So hopefully he's ready for week 1. There's not been any note on whether he would be or not. But I'm just going to continue to repeat to Florida fans, you want to complain about your schedule, and I don't blame you for that. You have a very tough schedule. But you better be counting your lucky stars that you don't play Miami week 1 like you did last year. That you don't play an actual team week 1 of last year. Because if you were going to Miami week 1, what was the score to it last year? What was it, 41-17? You trot out there with Lagway only practicing for a couple weeks, Dallas Wilson out for a bunch, and Eugene Wilson out. This is the laundry list of guys is like 8 to 10 deep. Caleb Banks now in that thread. You go down to Miami in week 1, you might get your blowers done off again. Hold on. What did I just say? Oh, boy.
There you go.
What did I even say?
Your blowers don't off again.
That's what's going to happen to Florida.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen to Florida. Well, doors blown off week 1. Instead, you start with LIU. Did we do this last week?
No.
Zach, what's LIU?
Let's find out.
No.
No, I seriously have no idea.
Guess. This is what this program is for. It's a little educational hour for you. If you're a Florida fan, you probably know, or at least I would hope you know who your week 1 opponent is. If not, let's play a little guessing game. LIU.
Lerner Institute University.
Never heard of it? Strike 1. Okay, let's start with the state that probably starts. I would, if I'm you, I start with the state that starts with L. That would be just my first thought.
Louisiana.
Okay. No.
Long Island.
Wow. Freaking 0-2 count. Freaking
yeah, I'm clutch.
Oppo Taco Bomb.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play at JU. All right, you learn how to be clutch.
Okay, well, that didn't happen for you or for your program. They scrapped it because of you.
That's true. That is true.
LIU, Long Island University. Did you know they had a football program?
I didn't know they were a school until about 6 seconds ago.
Okay, there's your week 1 opponent for Florida. And again, count your lucky stars. At lucky. You've started with real opponents at times. You started with Miami last year. If that happened this year, you'd be staring 0-1 by at least a 3-score margin down the barrel, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, but you don't have a lot of time to get ready. You have USF week 2. who you should handle. I'm not going to disrespect you and tell you that should be a close game. But obviously, if you're a college football fan, you know what they've done to top 25 teams in the last couple of years. You know how close they took it the distance with Bama last year. The big matchup, obviously, is week 3 in the Bayou against LSU. I don't think anybody outside of Gainesville is going to pick Florida to win that football game, and if you do, I don't know why you would. With that being said, let's get to Johnny 5 in the chat says Long Island University's fighting Jim McElwain's. Wait, he's not there, is he? Is Jim McElwain coaching?
We're going to find out.
No. Cutter in the chat says, at what point does it turn from coincidence to bad training? I think it's at this point. That's a great question. I know we're practicing hard over there in Gainesville, but at some point we got to protect our guys, and we got to be ready for week 1. We got anything on the fighting Jim McElwain's? I hope
we got nothing.
Okay. I don't think Jim McElwain is still coaching as of right now.
I think his last post is, if it's still accurate, his last post was Central Michigan, and that ended last year.
Right. Okay. Well, I love it. I love it. The fighting Jim McElwain's, baby. Let's go. I'll be rooting for him. You got one fan down here in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's go to our AP poll. We talked about the coaches poll last week, excuse me. Now we get to our AP poll. And obviously this is from writers across the country, reporters, all that good stuff. The first thing that sticks out, Texas is at number 1. And if you're a college football fan listening to this show, I want you to realize that Texas is number 1 for the first time in college football history. If you're like me, that's shocking. Obviously, as historied as Texas is, as big of a program as they are, as big as a program as they would want you to think of them as, never been number 1 before. So maybe they're celebrating over there in Texas. Maybe they're not. I would tell them to hold that, because in the last 21 years, 19 of the last number 1 teams have not won a national title. Number 1 teams in the last 21 years are 2 and 19. So I would pump the brakes, not to say that they are raising any kind of trophy for being number 1 in a preseason poll, but go ahead and cash Texas losing in the semifinal of the playoff, as far as I'm concerned. Just kidding, of course. Although we will, next week, be bringing our 12-team college football playoff predictions to the table. I will have my bracket. Zach will have his. And we're going to name a winner. We got next Friday will be one day until the college football season really kicks off again with Kansas State. It's a big Big 12 matchup. 2 teams that some people are picking to represent the Big 12 in the conference championship, perhaps represent the Big 12 in the playoff. And here they are right here on this AP poll. That's 17 versus 22. So we get a ranked matchup to start things off. Here's what I want to bring up, though. I think, look, as I mentioned last week with the coaches poll, there's the 1 through 9, then there's the drop-off with Miami at 10. And then it's really a crapshoot from there. Miami is a little bit too high, and that's a team that you really don't think that could win a title. Maybe the first 9 you could really make an argument. Okay, Illinois, a lot of people have an issue with them. Michigan, I have an issue with them. You're playing a true freshman quarterback on a 7-5 team last year. Even if he's the most talented freshman quarterback that you think that you've ever seen, we'll see. Right? I want to bring up Georgia at number 5. And here's the thing. I think Georgia fans are really happy with this. And again, take all of this with a grain of salt. I know nobody really cares about the polls. Okay? In consideration to when games actually start. With that being said, I don't think anybody, you look at the quarterbacks, right? And the hype around them in the top 5 teams. Arch Manning, hype couldn't be higher. Never been higher. Drew Aller, Penn State, hype really high. Never been higher. Ohio State, they're trying Julian Sayin out there. Everybody thinks that he's going to be the last year's version of DJ Lagway, except for he's going to play all season. Right? He's going to be the week 1 starter. He's going to be the guy. Clemson, Cade Klubnik. Everybody thinks he's going to be a first rounder. Hype's never been higher. And then you get to Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, good old boy. Finance major. Zero juice. If you saw any of his interview at Media Day, he rattled off about 50 answers in about 2 minutes. You got about one word each. Zero hype around Gunnar Stockton outside the city of Athens. Okay? I understand that he played 6 quarters of football last year. But this guy wasn't even really that highly touted nationally coming out of high school as far as fan bases and recognition and notoriety go. Now he's stepping in. Okay? Of the top 5, this guy's got the least amount of hype. And because of that, I don't think nationally college football fans respect him or this offense. Right? You think you're going from Carson Beck, a guy who at times, people will hate on him. He did not have a good season last year. We've talked all about that. Not going to get into it right now. At the same time, you're going from that guy who at times looked like a first-round quarterback at least to a guy who's played 6 quarters of football as well. And yet he's not even getting the same treatment as a true freshman, or not true freshman, but a first-time starter at Ohio State, Julian Sayin, or a Ty Simpson, a first-time starter at Alabama is getting. What people need to realize is that as a Georgia fan, I think Georgia's weapons are twice that of last year. Yes, Arian Smith got drafted late. Yes, Dominic Lovett got drafted late. But you have actual, real receiver weapons on the outside for the first time, again, in years. Since the Pickens days. And perhaps longer than that, because Pickens only really played one real full season. You have Colby Young, big time ex-receiver. You have Noah Thomas, who nobody out of Georgia's camp can stop talking about. They think this is going to be the best receiver on the team. He comes over from A&M, and he's another big-time guy, tall, lanky, go up and get it, stretch the field type of guy. And then you got the number 1 transfer receiver out of the portal, Mr. Zach Branch out of USC. Pair that with 2 returning tight ends, Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky, who are the real deal, who are NFL prospects. Pair that with Nate Frazier out of the backfield, who I think is a top 5 rusher in college football, going to be this year. And you have weapons for the first time. You have options for the first time, maybe not for the first time, but in a way that you never had last year. And that's the fact of the matter. Georgia fans were way more frustrated with the offensive line and with the receivers than they were Carson Beck at times. I think there's going to be some disagreement with that within the fan base, but I think the large majority of them would agree. It was more so about the line and more so about above anything about the receivers. Miscommunications, dropping balls, missed assignments. I don't think you're going to have that this year, and you got real dudes out there for the first time. One team that I didn't mention last week that I think is going to be this year's Arizona State, the team that wasn't ranked, that could sneak into the college football playoff. Last year was Arizona State. For me, this year, go ahead and give me Baylor. I've got the Baylor Bears being unranked, reaching the Big 12 championship game and losing. I'm not going to tell you who they're losing against. You'll have to wait till next week for that. But Sawyer Robinson, returning quarterback in the Big 12. The Big 12 is, if you think you can predict the Big 12 this year, then you might, and you're right. This is what we might do. Next week in the chat, we might do it. If you can give me the Big 12 championship game, winner and loser, next Friday in the chat, we're going to have to, we'll mail you something. We'll get you something from the Access Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Because your guess is as good as mine. But I'm penciling in Baylor and I'm penciling in Sawyer Robinson. By the way, they start with Auburn, hosting Auburn. So that's a little bit of an under the radar week 1 matchup that should be really good. With that being said, Zach, was there any other team on there that you were looking at, didn't deserve it to be there, or a team that you think is going to fly under the radar? I'm putting you on the spot, but you got anything there?
Yeah. I think that they're not flying under the radar, but I am a proponent of going against Ohio State. I don't like them. I hate watching them. My favorite thing to do is flip on the TV and watch them lose to Michigan the last 4 years.
Okay.
But I cannot deny the fact that Jeremiah Smith is an unbelievable athlete.
Mm-hmm.
On any given Saturday, if Ohio State's on the field, he is, without a doubt, the best player on the field. And so I just think that Ohio State is not an underdog. I just think they're too dominant. They're in the Big Ten. I don't see them losing to any team in the Big Ten. Maybe a tough game against.
They host Penn State, is that right?
I think so.
I believe they host Penn State.
So maybe a few tough games, but I don't foresee Ohio State losing almost any games this year. Yeah, I think under the radar.
Or again, first time starter quarterback.
It's true.
You never know.
But when you're throwing the ball to a 200-pound receiver who's one of the fastest guys on the field, one of the best athletes, it doesn't matter. You get the ball. And I mean, football's not that hard, guys. You get the ball in the hands of your best player, and if he's the best player on the field, you're probably gonna do pretty good.
Hey, I mean, the guy shows up to a college football show and declares that football's not that hard. That's unwavering confidence right there.
It's not that hard.
I'll say that. I do want to talk about one more thing about Florida. Right, they're at 15 in the AP poll. They were at 17 in the coaches poll. Here's my slight conspiracy here, because I think on paper. I need Florida fans to hear this. On paper, I think Florida's roster deserves to be higher. But they're not going to be 9-3 at the end of the season. And here's what people want to avoid. Here's what writers want to avoid. They know that the poll is just there for entertainment. It's there for ratings. It's there because they have to do it. They want to write articles about it. They want people like me talking about it. They know it's not that deep. But they want people to take it seriously. And people aren't going to take it seriously if they got FSU at number 10 going 2-10 year in and year out. So it would probably, maybe a bunch of the writers are thinking maybe it would behoove us, there's your word of the day, to not have Florida at 9, to not have Florida at 10, because when they end up at 7-5 at the end of the year, that's not going to be the best look for us. Maybe let's move them back a little bit towards the teams where we don't know a whole lot about and put them at 15. The coaches have it at 17. So maybe we can hedge our bets a little bit, right, at the end of the year, so that when Florida's 7-5, we didn't have them in the top 10. Is that too much of a conspiracy?
I don't think it is. But the other thing with Florida that needs to get brought up, because it's a very real problem that you mentioned in the beginning of the show, is their injuries. They can't keep players healthy. On top, and the thing that needs to be brought up, I saw it in the chat earlier, is when does it go from coincidence to bad training?
Right.
Okay. Are there coincidences? Sure, there are. But I'm telling you, man, in Florida, something that needs to be considered is, one, you're playing in the swamp. You're practicing in the swamp. It's hot, okay? You're going to get fatigued faster. I'm not going to go down the science rabbit hole of physical training because I know nothing about it.
Scientist.
Amen. But it just needs to be talked about that Florida really can't keep guys healthy. And if you cannot keep DJ Lagway healthy or Caleb Banks or any of these guys, you can expect Florida to be out of the top 25 to end the season again, just to maybe get some guys back and be back to spot 15 in the beginning of the year next year. It's been the same story for Florida for seasons and seasons now. They've got to be frustrated.
And yet they have higher expectations this year than they have in any year in Billy Napier's team. Have they ever been 15 in Napier's tenure? No, they have not. We're going to take a quick break in just a second. On the other side, we got to get down to Orlando. We talk UCF. We go to the Bounce House. Their defensive coordinator's getting roasted up and down. And we'll see if he needs to be defended. Also, their quarterback battle, we'll get to that, as well as we'll also get to the coaches under the most pressure this year, right? You enter year 2, year 3, year 4, maybe even a year 6 guy on the list, right? You underperformed last year. Your team expects a national title. Which 5 coaches in college football need to win the most? Football season is here. It's right around the corner. It's also baseball season, for all the youngins locally as they get set for rec seasons. Parents, if you're in Jacksonville and you need a place for your son or daughter to play this fall, I got somewhere for you. Sign up with the Southside Baseball Association. All right, you're going to see their logo on the top of the screen in just a second. SBA, there it is. Check them out. Southside Baseball Association, located in the heart of Jacksonville at the Southside, Glenlea, and Holiday Park. SBA, founded last year, wants to provide a fun and safe atmosphere for you and your family. They have leagues from 3 and 4 all the way up to 12U. Registration is open now. It closes August 29th. August 29th is August 27th. So get on it August 27th. If you have any questions, please reach out to the president, Michael Journey. His number is 904-868-7665. Southside Baseball Association, that's your place this fall. Y'all make that happen. Back on the other side after this, Action Sports Jack's 24/7 Network Stadium Pulse. We'll see you in a couple.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnicht, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnichtBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnicht, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht. GMC, we are professional grade.
Putting your needs first. It's the backbone of how First Florida Credit Union does business. In all honesty, you might as well be speaking another language when it comes to finances. Sure, I'm good with my money, but what am I missing in the fine print? That's what led me to First Florida Credit Union. They're the perfect choice for anyone starting their financial journey because they keep finances easy. Plus, they offer financial education and resources I can trust. So I'm always growing more confident. And as a young adult, I am constantly adding more responsibilities to my plate. From a car payment to a mortgage, it all adds up. Luckily, First Florida Credit Union makes sure it adds up in all the right places and not the wrong ones by offering better rates and lower fees than traditional banks, even if you're still trying to grow your credit. Because as a member-owned institution, First Florida genuinely puts people's needs first rather than focusing on profit. So I know as my needs change, they'll be right there to help me reach my goals. Check out firstflorida.org to learn how you can benefit too.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced,
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
high fly,
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Welcome back to Stadium Pulse, presented by Nimnicht Buick GMC and Southside Baseball Association. Our man. Welcome to the Dream Team. Jake Fromm, client advisor, Sterling Seacrest, and Pritchard. That's a free shout out for them. I don't know, man. I just see this and I laugh every time. I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall for a couple years. But our man here, I mean, it's better than selling tires at the discount tire. But holy cow. I just want to throw that up for you. Maybe you think that's funny. Maybe you don't. Maybe that's just me. But Jake Fromm actually was released by the Bills, I believe, in April of this year. Kind of dragged out the career. Not a bad, I mean, at least he made it. I mean, I think he had a couple years stint with the Giants, signed practice squad for a couple of teams. I think he signed for $4 million out of college, out of Georgia. Hey, I remember the day. I remember the exact moment when Jacob Eason got hurt in week 1 and he came in against Notre Dame, threw that touchdown to Terry Godwin. So I wish Jake Fromm all the best in his insurance or financial, whatever that is, career. With that being said, welcome back. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio on a Friday. Let's get down to UCF. All right. You got a whole new coaching staff. Your whole team is brand new, and you're led by, obviously, Scott Frost, and on the defensive side of the football by Alex Grinch, right? Okay, when they made the signing, I'm like, all right, I got to look more into this guy. I've heard of him during his time at Oklahoma, and I don't believe it went well. So I looked into him. The facts back that up, and the concerns were there. I mean, this guy does not have a good the name recognition around this guy is not all that solid. I don't think I knew how bad it really was. Not to say that look, I don't watch Barstool, not because I have anything against him. I just don't have time. I'd rather spend my time elsewhere. But nonetheless, this guy, Brandon Walker on Barstool, had this to say about Alex Grinch, and I thought I would play it for you, and we'll see if we can't defend it or not.
This was very easy. I thought it was going to be difficult looking at it.
Yeah.
I looked at several teams, but one team passed my ultimate test. Is Alex Grinch your defensive coordinator?
Oh, no. Alex Grinch is still employed?
If the answer is yes, you're the worst team in the conference.
I love that thought process.
Scott Frost got a job, and he said, what I'm going to do is hire Alex Grinch to be my defensive coordinator? Is that Plum, am I crazy here?
No, this is extremely good.
That is malpractice.
Boy. Is Alex Grinch your defensive coordinator? If yes, you're the worst team in the conference. All right, let's take a look real quick at Alex Grinch's track record. Okay, Oklahoma, the defensive coordinator in 2019. He was a couple stops before there, but we'll start when he was the actual defensive coordinator at a place, not just a position coach. Oklahoma, 2019, gave up 28 points a game. Not good. Oklahoma, 2021. Obviously, we're taking out the 2020 year. 2021, 26 points per game. So that's pretty terrible. I mean, they were in the 70s and 80s that year in what used to be, obviously, the Big 12. However, there's one encouraging note. Before he got there in 2018, they were giving up 33 points a game. So in year one, 5 points per game, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot to you. That is a huge improvement. Now, 28 is still bad. That really what you learn there is just how bad it was before he got there in 2018. But nonetheless, he lasts a couple of years there, and he gets seen the door. Then he goes to USC. And here's where it gets even more discouraging, if you will. In 2022, USC gave up 29 points a game. That was 94th. Obviously, I think this is at 131 college football programs. 94th for USC, playing a lot of California teams that they have a lot more talent on, specifically on the defensive side of the football. 2023, they gave up 34.4 points per game. That was 121st out of 131, right up there with Kent State, Utah State, and Colorado. Oh, gosh. This is bad news. This is real bad. He went to Wisconsin last year and was much better, 23.1 points per game, 46th best. Some massive improvement there, although Wisconsin has played a lot better defense just historically than both Oklahoma and USC has for decades and decades. Okay. I had no idea. I'm just bringing this because I didn't know it was this that Grinch was nationally thought of in this realm. And, I'm seeing, UCF fans, obviously I follow a lot of y'all on Twitter and social media, really coming to his defense. Good for you. As you should, saying it's the Frost and the Grinch kind of revenge tour, that they're teaming up and all of these things. And what we'll do next week, and I've teased it with FSU as well, is I really want people to what are your expectations? Like, what are the expectations for the Knights this season? And especially in a Big 12 where it's really anybody's game, yet, you have a whole new team, you have a whole new coaching staff, you have a defensive coordinator who's at the very least incredibly unproven. And as we'll talk about now, obviously, you don't have a quarterback. You have 3 guys competing. You brought in Taven Jackson. I believe Scott Frost brought in Taven Jackson with the full intention that he would be the guy. And then I'm tracking all of the beat reporters that I used to work with down there in Orlando, all the guys that are in practice day in and day out. Taven Jackson's taking 13 reps. I mean, depending on the day, either Cam Fancher, the transfer from FAU, is in there, or Ja'Cory Brown, the lone returner that you have, is in there with the ones. They're flipping 1s and 2s, and Taven Jackson's in there with the 3s. Now, if that is the case, it has to be because the guy simply cannot stop turning the football over. However, the point I want to make is that I don't think you have an option where the guy's not going to turn the football over. Look, I mean, I think the national media thinks that it's going to be Taven Jackson and everybody outside of Orlando. I think fans want Ja'Cory Brown, your lone returner, because they believe how dynamic he can be, especially as a runner of the football, right? He proved that last year. He also proved that when he starts to throw the football, especially down the field, it's going to be, close your eyes. What was it? 400 yards last year in minimal passing attempts with 1 touchdown and 5 picks, right? So the point is, and look, I'm an alum, but this might be really bad. You have 3 options and none of them are good options. Ja'Cory Brown was 52% on his passing attempts last year for 400 yards, 1 touchdown, and 5 picks. That's why they just ran it with him every time. It was him and RJ Harvey on the ground. RPO, all that. And you might as well have just taken out the P in RPO because there was not a pass option on a lot of them. He would either put the ball into the belly of the back or keep it, tuck it, and take off. And he got Cam Fancher, 34 career games. Marshall at FAU, 27 touchdowns in his career, 23 picks, about a 1-to-1 ratio. Is that what you're looking for? 165 yards passing per game in his career. So I think what you're going to hear out of Orlando is that you have three good options. And I get, it's way too early to tell. I'm not going to go off of fall camp. I don't really want to go off of just what these guys have done at other programs that aren't Scott Frost's offense, because I do believe that any quarterback in Scott Frost's offense has a lot better shot in today's 2025 college football than Gus Malzahn's offense. Sorry to tell you, FSU fans. But I think this is the case. I just don't think you have a good option. I really don't. With that being said, I'll segue with this. Malzahn in his opening press conference was asked if he was in the pressure cooker. That was the one that made headlines. He was under a lot of pressure last year. It didn't work out. He was terrible in conference games and got, he resigned. He was going to get fired. He wouldn't have made my list last year, and yet he still got shown the door. So this year, the question is, going into the 2025 college football season, which coaches are under the most pressure? Which are under the most pressure to win and to win now, to turn things around, to deliver? And some of these guys are going to be on here for different reasons because they have different expectations. But here is the list that I came up with. These are my top 5 coaches, college football coaches, under the most pressure. I'll start from the bottom up. Number 5, Kalen DeBoer. Okay, you come over from Washington, you go deliver a 9-3 season, you lose to Vanderbilt. That can't happen again. The Crimson Tide faithful are expecting a playoff berth. They're expecting playoff wins. Maybe they're not expecting a national title right now, knowing that Ty Simpson is a first-time starter in college football. But make no mistake about it, 9-3 with a loss to the likes of Vanderbilt is unacceptable. So Kalen DeBoer comes in at number 5 on my list. Penn State, James Franklin, number 4. A lot of people think that Penn State should have been number 1 in the polls. This is their year. Everybody's declaring Penn State. They have a returning Drew Aller, right? Who a lot of people who I disagree think that he's going to be a first-round pick in next year's NFL draft. I don't see it yet. I watched almost all of their games last year. I obviously, along with you, most likely watched their playoff games. He didn't seem like a guy who could go down and win you a football game. They were trying to protect him. Take Tyler Warren, their entire passing attack, out of their offense, and they just did. He just got drafted in the, I believe it was 14 or something like that, to the Bears, or maybe 20, something like that. Regardless, that was their entire passing attack. They had no weapons on the outside. And it was like a high school offense. A high school offense, you find a way to get your best player the ball. No matter what position he plays, whatever you got to do, you give him the ball. You let him work. That's what they did last year. That's all they could do last year. Regardless, Penn State's being picked to win the conference. They're being picked to win the championship. However, James Franklin is still your head football coach. He's never been able to win the big one. He's never been able to beat top 25 teams. And all of a sudden, you want him to win a national title? He's under the most pressure. He's in there. Number 3 is Brent Venables. We talked about it at the beginning of the show with our man, John Mateer. Okay? You're entering year 4 in an SEC program. Deliver or get out. The boosters are going to start looking at your buyout week in and week out if you don't pick it up. A 6-6 season, unacceptable. 7-5, unacceptable. Especially for a guy who, with the defensive prowess that he had, it depends on how it looks. If you go 8-4, and the defense looks really good, and has shown massive signs of improvement, and it's just, John Mateer is one click off. You got it for 2 seasons. Okay? You got it for 2 seasons. I don't think the Sooners fan base is expecting a playoff berth in year 1 of John Mateer. They are expecting a playoff berth in his tenure and in Venables' tenure. If he doesn't deliver that next year, he's definitely gone. But if he goes 6-6 this year, he'll be looking for a defensive coordinator job. That brings us to number 2. Okay, you went 2-10. Does anything else need to be said? Everybody thought you were gonna in for another playoff run. You're coming off of an undefeated season, undefeated regular season, and then you go 2-10. Mike Norvell, if you don't deliver, if you don't turn it around, you don't have time. If you don't go 7-5 at the very least, let's see what the buyout is. The boosters are going to start talking if they can come up with the money. That number 1, the guy that, this guy drives me up a wall. The old Brian Kelly. You leave Notre Dame to take a position where you think you could be a national title contender year in and year out? What have you done? Nothing. And what has Notre Dame done? They used a replacement and they went to a national title. Year in and year out, Brian Kelly, even when he was back at Notre Dame, was touted as a national title contender, blamed the roster at Notre Dame. He can't blame the roster anymore. He's got Garrett Nussmeier, who I think is the top quarterback this year in college football. He's got a ton of transfers in on defense, a lot of guys that have a lot of experience. He has national title contention, the team, written all over it. And if he doesn't deliver, if they go 9-3 again, I think he's out. Zach, thoughts on my list before we get out of here?
I agree with Norvell, Franklin, and Brian Kelly being in the top 5. Okay, my order's a little different. But Kalen DeBoer and Brett Venables, I don't think, in my personal opinion, are under as much pressure as a few of the other guys that I had thought of originally.
Let's hear more.
So I have, in difference to you, in contrast to you, I have Mike Elko at Texas A&M. And here's why, is because Texas A&M has a history of hiring coaches and then buying them out and just signing paychecks.
That's true.
And this year 2 will determine for Mike Elko and Texas A&M fans, is he here to collect a paycheck or is he here to bring some glory to Texas A&M, which is what the boosters want?
Right.
You know, he's only on year 2. He doesn't have a lot of time, but Texas A&M has been waiting for a championship since 1939. That's a lot of time between now and
boy.
then. The next guy I had on my list, I had Brian Kelly as well, is I got Billy Napes.
Billy Napes.
Okay?
Billy Napes makes it in there.
Billy Napes is 3-5.
Spot the ball, Billy Napes.
3-5. 4-4.
Not good.
Okay, you're Vanderbilt, Arkansas, no offense. Fine. You take it, okay? But Florida wants a championship. Florida fans, as much as I don't like them, want to sit there and they want to have a championship team, and they don't have it with Billy Napier. And unfortunately for him, a lot of his success relies on his medical team getting his best players healthy and DJ Lagway playing to the capabilities that they allow him to. But Billy Napier, so far has not performed that. For Florida State fans and Mike Norvell, we're 20-20 in conference with Norvell as the helm, okay? With most of those losses coming last year, but for Florida State fans this year, a guy we got to look out for is Usman Kroma, okay? The UGA flip has done nothing but produce quality content for Florida State. The head coaches love him.
What position, Zach?
Running back.
So you want to come on here and you want to tout a dude who transferred or who flipped from Georgia to FSU?
Yeah.
Where did he go to high school?
Lee County.
Okay, that's pretty much my hometown.
Okay.
Pretty much you are confirming right here on August, whatever it is, 2025, that I'm going to hate watch this guy.
Yes.
From the hometown, flips from Georgia to Florida State. This is your guy?
Listen. Hear me out. The best Florida State teams in the last 30 years, maybe 40, we'll go 35 years, have had the combination of a dual threat quarterback and a running back.
That wasn't DJU last year.
Clearly, we're 2-10. And he ain't a dual threat. He's a linebacker who catches the football and throws it to the other team.
Okay.
That's DJU.
Okay.
And
you're going to watch him this weekend in preseason?
One more time?
You're going to watch him this week in preseason?
Yeah, you couldn't pay me.
What a shame.
So the next thing is we need to watch out for Usman Kroma. And then the last guy that I had, I saw it in the chat, and I want to make sure that people know, is Lincoln Riley's in the hot seat as well.
He was on the my what do you call it? Honorable mention.
I think Lincoln Riley's in the hot seat more. He's getting paid $11.5 million, and he went 11-3 and 8-5 in the Pac-12, and then 4-5 in the Big Ten. USC is like LSU, in a sense, I'm not comparing. I know I'm comparing apples and oranges here, but USC wants a championship too. There's certain teams in college football that'll take a 10-win season, wipe their hands clean with it. Okay, but LSU, USC, Lincoln Riley, and Brian Kelly are on the hot seat this year to perform because a 10-win season, 3 years in a row, which Lincoln Riley has not had in a while, is not going to cut it for these fans. You're going into a blue blood college football known program and school. You have to deliver hardware, and if you don't, you're gonna see another team, or you're gonna see a payout coming up.
I love it. Look, I didn't even make the show notes, but Lincoln Riley is actually dodging smoke. He was asked about the Notre Dame USC rivalry, one of the most historic rivalries in college football, and why he doesn't want to do it anymore. And he's pretty much said we got to go 10-2, 11-1, and make the playoff because all the committee talks about is wins and record. That pretty much tells everybody, including your fan base, you don't ever want to play Notre Dame because you'll think you'll lose. We got to get out of here. 9:55 on a Friday. We appreciate everybody watching. Stadium Pulse presented by Nimnicht Buick GMC and Southside Baseball Association. 1 more week till game day. 2 or 3 more weeks until your favorite college football team plays, and we will be right along with you covering it every step of the way. We appreciate you in the chat. Appreciate you watching, and hope you have a good Friday, everybody.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnicht, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnicht, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht GMC. We are professional grade.
Putting your needs first. It's the backbone of how First Florida Credit Union does business. In all honesty, you might as well be speaking another language.